Alright everybody, we are back here at the draw board. I have the TRX 38 on the draw board right now. I've got my digital crane scale. I have it taired so that it's going to be reading 0 with no pressure on here, which means as soon as we put any tension on, it's going to start reading weight, even though much of that's just going to be to hold the scale up. So for the first inch or so of the draw cycle, just totally ignore the numbers. They do not matter. The way I'm going to be doing this so that I have an accurate inch by inch reference point is that I've got a tape on the draw board on the press extension arm here. So I am going to actually use the wheel to extend the press inch by inch, and then we'll take the marks off of the crane scale. So what that means is that I want to make sure the winch part here doesn't slip. So I'm going to put a clamp on here so that this thing cannot start to spin when I get to 55 pounds or whatever, because this does not have the locking winch option anymore where it's a ratchet. It's actually the friction. And if any of you have ever tried to let your bow down while it's at 50 plus pounds and not been holding on to this, you'll find that it can start to take off. So we don't want any part of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put enough tension on here that I feel like we're not wasting travel here. So it's starting to deflect the string a little bit, and this is getting tight. Okay, so that's probably about right. We're going to give this a ½ inch. We're going to get this to where it matches up, okay? So probably about 1 inch. It'll be right. Alright, so we're at about 1 inch. And what we've got is essentially about 1 inch of draw and 1 inch of extension. So the scale is set now, and it's reading 8.8 pounds. So I'm going to leave that. We are now going to essentially, this thing goes which way? Backwards to clutch, to counterclockwise. So we're going to prevent this from being able to clutch. So now it cannot let off, okay? So we're done with that. Now what we're going to do is start drawing this bow back and seeing where the scale ends up. Alright, so we're at approximately 2 inches and we're at 16.7 pounds. Let me crank this down. It's a little sloppy right now. I don't want it bouncing around. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, we're at 26.6 for 33, so 3 inches. 34 inches, sorry I overblew it. There we go, about 36.8. 35 inches, about 45.8. 36 inches, 52.4. 37 inches, 53.7. 38, 53.7. 39, 54. Now when I say 39, it's 9 inches. I'm starting at 30. I'm just calling out what the number's reading. 40, 54. 41, 54. 42, 54.2. 43, 53.7. 44, 53.5. 45, 50.2. 46, 44.5. 47, oops, blew past 47. 47's 34.6. 48. 21.1. We're getting close to the stops. So right there. I'm just touching the stops. Holding weight 16.5. Alright, so there we've got 16.3 is the very lowest holding weight that I'm able to achieve. Okay, so we've got the information we need from this bow. I'm going to stop the video, let it down, take it off, and switch bows, and we'll do the exact same thing. See you in a bit. Alright everybody, we're back. We've got the prime in the press. We're going to tear the scale here. Okay, we're then going to do exactly what we did before. I will note in advance there is one subtle difference with this bow when we get to the end of the draw cycle, which is going to be, if I start at 30 here, which is for easy math, I'm going to run out of measurement on the tape here because it only goes up to 48, and there's more than 18 inches of power stroke on this bow, about 19 because it's got a shorter brace height. So anyway, I'm going to get the ruler out to add that extra inch when we get to the final bit of the draw cycle. For now, what we're going to do is exactly what we did before. We're going to tension this until we get about, alright, probably right there, and then draw this out to about 1 inch. I overcooked it a little bit here. That's about 1 inch of draw and 1 inch on the scale. Let's give it a little bit more. That looks about right. Okay, so we've got approximately 1 inch of draw, 1 inch on the scale. We're going to clamp this so that our clutch doesn't go crazy and take off on us. And then what we're going to do is the exact same thing as before. I'm going to draw the bow back using the hand wheel and measure out and call out the weight. So it's at 8.1 pounds at 1 inch of draw. Okay, we're at 2 inches, 16 pounds. Three inches, 24.6. 4 inches, 33.5. 5 inches, 42.1. 6 inches, 48.5. 7 inches, 51.5. 8 inches, 53.1. 9 inches, 53.3. 10 inches, 53.7. 11 inches, 54. 12 inches, 54. 13 inches, 54.2. That was 13 inches, sorry, if I didn't say that. 14 inches, 54. 15 inches, 52.9, starting to settle into its valley. 46 inches, 49.3. 47 inches, 42.5. 48 inches, 31. Okay, so now here's where I got to get the tape measure out, or not tape measure, but the ruler, and add on to get our next bit of draw length. So I'm going to put it on 1 inch and draw it out until the marks line up. And we do have 1 more inch of draw in here. Not quite. Alright, there's 48 inches, and we are at 17.8 pounds of holding weight. We still have a ½ inch to go. This is where I'd ideally like it to be stopped. And this is my biggest challenge with this bow, is that the cable stops can't go another ½ an inch forward. So I couldn't buy a 29-inch version of this bow and move the cable stops all the way to 28 inches. They don't go that far. So let's bring it straight out to its stops. I am getting super close now, just touching. So I'm just touching the cable stops. And here's the holding weight. If you can see that. If you can't, let me zoom in. I'll push the hold function. 12.5 pounds. That's just not target bow material for me. Some people may like that if they're used to that nice, easy, long valley where they can be lazy, or maybe they're just getting into target and they're not used to the demands of a full-blown 65 to 70% off let-off target bow. That may be a good choice, but for me, the holding weight is just too low. It's 4 pounds less than the Mathews, and that 4 pounds may not sound like a lot, but it feels like a lot. It makes a big difference in the way that your shoulder is able to maintain tension as you let the bow down. So there we have it. I'll throw up a graph and then we'll get to the shootout. Alrighty guys, talk to you later. Bye. Alrighty guys, so we're all done with the draw curve. You've seen the graph. Rewind the video if you need to take a closer look. The primary difference you'll see between the draw curves, they're actually extremely similar. The primary difference is that the Mathews ramps up more quickly and has a ½ inch less power stroke because of its longer brace height. So the prime is a little slower to ramp up to full speed. It seems to increase at about 8 pounds per inch of draw cycle over the first 4 to 5 inches, whereas the Mathews seems to increase more, like about 9 pounds per inch of draw cycle. That said, they both hold their weight extremely evenly at the peak of their draw cycle, and then have a fairly sharp drop into their valley. The biggest difference being, and the graph is not perfectly accurate because there was no 19.5 option for me to graph that out without taking ½ inch data points. So it shows the 12.5 pounds of holding weight on the prime at 20 inches. It's really at 19.5 on that graph, and that would mean that instead of the graph curve coming down and stopping like this, it would really come down and level off like that. And that's that long, drawn out, easy valley that I was explaining. That isn't my personal preference, but if you like an easy back wall where you've got a decent amount of room to play with, the prime will certainly offer that for you. So if you're between a 20 28 and a 28.5 inch draw length, or as low as 27 and maybe 3/4. That's probably about as short as you could get this bow to go. This bow will work for you. If you're at 28.25 to 29, you're going to want to go up, you know, to the 29 inch bow. I would never recommend this bow for anyone who has a longer draw length than the advertised bow, because then you'll be over rotating the cams and relieving even more tension off that, you know, back wall holding weight. And then you're really getting into, you know, hunting bow territory, which is not the point when you're building a target platform. Buy a size up. Others have said that, and I will reinforce that. Buy one size up from your ideal draw length, unless you want a very long, and I mean, you know, 1 inch to 1.5 inches of serious valley and low holding weight. I find that it's a little low for me, even a 1/2 inch short. I said that from the get-go. The numbers bear it out. I can't go a 1/2 inch shorter. I would love to see this bow offered with even more cable stop travel. So if they had cut those channels longer in the cam so that I could, you know, take a 29 inch bow and make it 28, it would be perfect. So if Prime ever sees this, that would be my feedback, because it's a great platform. It's a great bow. For personally, me as a target shooter, I want more holding weight. So, okay, shootout is next video. This took a little longer than I wish it would have. That's always the way it is with videos. So thanks for hanging with me, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.